The colony ship moved through the silent dark of space, its engines humming like a distant heartbeat. Ethan stood in the white-lit AI chamber, staring at the glowing text floating in front of him. Humans have high reproductive needs. To ensure species survival, you have been assigned 2 companions. For a moment, he thought his eyes were playing tricks on him. He rubbed them hard and looked again. The words didn't change. "This has to be a joke," he whispered, his voice echoing in the empty chamber. The AI's calm female voice replied instantly, "This is not an error. Assignment confirmed. Companions arriving in 30 seconds. His stomach dropped. Wait, companions? What does that even mean? The door to the chamber hissed, cold air rushing in as the metal slid open. Ethan's breath caught. 2 small figures stepped inside. Their skin was pale with a faint silver glow, their large eyes reflecting the white light like liquid glass. They were slender, petite, with delicate features that looked almost human, but not quite. They both stopped in front of him, tilting their heads as if studying him carefully. One of them smiled, her voice soft like a whisper carried on wind. "You are ours?" Ethan stepped back, his heart hammering. No, wait. This isn't right. There's been a mistake." The I spoke again, negative. "Human reproduction is priority 1. You are now a pairing unit. Survival protocols activated." Ethan's throat went dry. He wanted to argue, but the way the AI's voice shifted on the last sentence made his chest tighten. It sounded urgent, almost anxious. The second alien girl moved closer. Her eyes glowed faintly blue as she reached out a small hand. Her touch was cool against his arm, gentle but firm. "We protect." "You?" she asked in broken, careful words. Before Ethan could respond, the lights above them flickered and turned red. An alarm blared, loud and sharp, making his bones vibrate. "Warning!" The IS voice cut through the noise, this time faster. Sharper. "External threat detected. Secure chamber lockdown initiated. Pairing unit must proceed to safe location immediately." Ethan spun toward the door, but it slammed shut, sealing them inside with a heavy metallic thud. His breath came quick and shallow. "What is going on? What threat?" he shouted, trying to steady his voice. The AI didn't answer. Instead, a low rumble echoed through the ship, distant at first but growing louder, like something massive scraping against the outer hull. Ethan's skin crawled. He had been in space long enough to know one thing: that sound wasn't mechanical. The first alien girl clung to his arm suddenly, her glowing eyes wide. "We stay together," she said, her words trembling like she understood something he didn't. The second one moved to his other side, wrapping her arms around his waist. They were scared too. Ethan forced himself to breathe. His mind raced through possibilities. The ship's AI never panicked, never rushed, unless the situation was bad, very bad. "Listen," he said quickly, trying to sound calm even though fear was twisting his stomach. "I don't know who you are. I don't know why the AI thinks. I need companions, but if we want to survive, we need to stick together, understand?" The girls both nodded at once, their strange glowing eyes fixed on him with a kind of trust he didn't feel he deserved. The red lights dimmed slightly as the AI's voice returned, quieter this time. "Secure chamber engaged. All pairing units must remain within designated safety radius. External entity approaching hull." Ethan froze. External entity. That meant it wasn't an asteroid. It wasn't space debris. It was something alive. He swallowed hard, pressing his back against the cold wall as the 2 alien girls held onto him tighter. The ship groaned under. Another impact. A deep metallic roar shaking the floor beneath their feet. For a moment there was silence, heavy and suffocating. Then the first alien girl looked up at him and whispered, "Ethan, safe." He blinked, startled. You know my name?" She touched the glowing collar on her neck and nodded slowly. I tell. "We keep you." Ethan stared at her, heart pounding. A chill ran down his spine as the IS voice came one more time. Unit 17H, your assignment has begun. Protect the companions. Protect the future of humanity. The red lights flared bright. And outside the chamber, something scraped the hull again, louder, closer. Ethan clenched his fists. Standing between the two alien girls for the first time, he realized this wasn't just about him. The eye wasn't joking. This was survival, and his life, and maybe humanity itself, now depended on two petite alien wives who were looking at him. Like he was the only thing keeping them safe. Asterisk, the red light still pulsed across the chamber walls, casting everything in a dim, urgent glow. Ethan stood between the two alien girls. His breath shallow as the metallic echo outside the hull faded into silence. For a few seconds, none of them moved. The air felt heavy, almost alive. The first girl, the one who spoke his name, finally broke the silence with a whisper. "Ethan? Safe?" He forced a shaky smile. For now, though deep inside, he wasn't sure if he believed his own words. The IS voice came again. Calm but firm. Threat outside the ship remains active. Unit 17H must stabilize companions. Bond initiation. Required for synchronization. Ethan blinked. Wait. What? Bond initiation? The second alien girl tilted her head, her silver hair brushing over her glowing collar. Bond means trust, she said slowly, as if remembering the words. Without bond, we weak. Ethan let out a nervous laugh. Great. And how exactly do we bond while something is clawing at the ship? The first girl stepped closer, placing her hand on his chest. Her touch was light but strangely grounding. Heart. Share heart, she said softly. Then we strong. Before he could respond, the ship groaned again, a deep metallic vibration that made the floor tremble. Dust shook loose from the ceiling and floated in the zero-gravity air like tiny sparks. Ethan clenched his fists. All right, fine, heart-sharing trust. Whatever this is, let's do it. The AI's voice interrupted. Place both companions within physical contact range. Bonding process will begin. Ethan looked at the two girls, both staring at him with wide, glowing eyes. Their expressions were strange fear mixed with hope. He knelt down, motioning for them to come closer. The second girl moved first, wrapping her slender arms around his shoulder with surprising strength. The first girl followed, pressing her forehead lightly against his chest. A soft hum filled the room, and the collars around their necks began to glow brighter. The AI's voice softened, almost like a lullaby. Synchronization in progress. Emotional link forming. Ethan's heart raced as a sudden warmth spread through his body. It wasn't just physical contact. He could feel something deeper. Flashes of images, emotions that weren't his. Fear, loneliness, and then relief, he gasped, realizing he was feeling them, their emotions bleeding into his own like water mixing with water. The second girl whispered near his ear. You hear us now? Ethan swallowed hard. Yeah. I think I do. Suddenly, a sharp bang echoed outside the hull. Louder than before, the ship lurched, throwing them all against the wall. The alien girls cried out and clung to him tighter, and for the first time, Ethan didn't just hear their fear. He felt it ripple through his own chest like it was his own. The ice voice snapped back to its usual cold tone. External entity breaching secondary layer. Defensive protocols limited. Bond must stabilize immediately. Ethan grit his teeth, holding the girls close. All right, listen to me, he said quickly. I don't care what's out there, but if we want to live, we stay together. No matter what. The first girl looked up at him with tears glistening in her glowing eyes. Together, she whispered. The second girl nodded hard. Together. Forever. A sudden wave of warmth shot through him again, stronger this time, and the AI's voice confirmed. Bond stabilized. Emotional link complete. Unit 17H now registered as family unit. Power reallocation granted. Ethan stared at the glowing collars. Family unit? Wait, what does that mean? Before the AI could answer, the chamber floor shifted under their feet. A soft hum grew louder, and a hidden door opened beneath the white walls, revealing a dark passageway with glowing blue lines leading deeper into the ship. The AI spoke again. Proceed to the core sanctuary. Protect companions at all costs. Ethan looked at the passage, then back at the alien girls. They were both watching him, their glowing eyes trusting him completely now. He took a deep breath and nodded. All right. Let's move. As they stepped into the passageway, the red lights above flickered one last time before going completely dark, leaving only the soft blue glow under their feet. Ethan couldn't help but glance at the two petite figures walking close to him, holding his hands as if letting go would mean death. He didn't know what waited in the core sanctuary. He didn't know what the external entity was. But one thing was certain: whatever was happening, this was no longer just a mission. It was the beginning of something far bigger. And his fate was now tied to these two alien wives, who looked at him like he was their whole world. The passageway felt endless, the soft blue light under their feet pulsing in rhythm with the ship's heartbeat-like hum. Ethan moved cautiously, his hand gripping the wall for balance while the two alien girls clung to him. Their small hands were cold, but the emotional link between them burned warm in his chest. Almost there, he whispered, though he wasn't sure if he was reassuring them or himself. The IS voice echoed through the narrow corridor, softer than before. Unit 17H, the core sanctuary is a secure zone. External entity detected near engineering deck. Speed is critical. The first alien girl looked up at him, her glowing eyes wide. Entity, hunts? Ethan hesitated, his jaw tightening. Yeah. Maybe. The second girl squeezed his hand harder. We protect you. Ethan let out a shaky laugh. I think we're supposed to protect each other. A sudden metallic roar ripped through the corridor, making the walls shake violently. The blue lights flickered, and for a second, total darkness swallowed them. The girls clung to him instantly, and Ethan felt their fear crash into his own chest through the bond. His breathing quickened. Keep moving, he shouted, tugging them forward as the ship groaned like something massive was crawling along the outside. They stumbled into a wide circular room, the walls lined with glowing veins of energy. In the center stood a tall, transparent pillar, pulsing with light, the ship's core. The IS voice came again. Core sanctuary reached. Initiating seal. The door behind them slammed shut with a loud hiss, locking them inside. Ethan let out a long breath and turned to the two girls. All right. We're safe for now. The first girl tilted her head, her soft voice breaking the silence. Safe. With you. Her words hit harder than he expected. The bond between them wasn't just emotional anymore, it was starting to feel deeper, like threads tying their lives together. Before he could respond, the IS tone shifted, more urgent now. Unit 17H, listen carefully. The external entity is not natural. It is searching for genetic hosts. Without protection, all life aboard will be consumed. Ethan froze. Consumed? The second girl stepped closer, her silver hair brushing his arm. It wants US? The II's voice hummed. It wants him. Humans have high reproductive value. That is why companions were assigned. Together, you are stronger. Alone, you are prey. Ethan's stomach dropped. His mind raced. Wait, you're saying this thing is hunting me? The I answered coldly. Affirmative. Protect the family unit at all costs. Engage survival protocol. Before he could process that, the floor trembled, and a chilling sound echoed through the metal walls. It wasn't a roar this time. It was a slow, scraping drag, like claws pulling along steel. The first girl pressed against his chest, her voice trembling. Here, Ethan wrapped an arm around both of them, his other hand balling into a fist. Listen to me, he said firmly. Whatever comes through that door, we fight. We don't run. Understand? The second girl looked up at him, her glowing eyes fierce despite the fear he could feel radiating through the bond. Together, she said. Together, the first one echoed. A sudden hiss filled the room as the wall opposite the core began to dent inward. Metal screeched under pressure, and a long, sharp crack split down the center. Ethan's heart pounded in his ears. He didn't have weapons. He didn't have armor. All he had was the bond, the two alien girls, and his will to survive. The IS. Voice dropped to a whisper. Unit 17H, prepare. This is only the beginning. The wall burst open with a deafening shriek of tearing metal, and a black, shifting mass poured into the room. Its surface rippled like liquid shadows, long tendrils stretching toward them. Ethan stepped in front of the girls instinctively, his arms out as if his body alone could shield them. The bond pulsed inside him, and suddenly the collars on the girls' necks glowed brighter than ever. A surge of energy shot through him, not his own but theirs, courage and strength flowing into his chest like fire. The second girl's voice echoed in his mind through the bond. We are not prey. The first girl's voice followed, soft but steady. We are family. Ethan clenched his teeth, his fear turning into raw determination as the black mass lunged forward. This wasn't just survival anymore. It was war. The black mass surged forward, its tendrils snapping through the air like whips. Ethan grabbed both alien girls and dove to the side, the floor shaking under the impact as the creatures slammed where they had been standing seconds ago. The room pulsed with red warning lights now. The ship's core hummed violently, like it was reacting to the threat. Ethan pressed his back against the glowing pillar and pulled the girls close. His breathing was sharp, fast. We need a plan, he hissed under his breath. The first girl's voice trembled. It. Smell you. The second girl nodded, her glowing blue eyes narrowing. It wants your life. Before Ethan could respond, the IS voice cut through the chaos. Unit 17H, listen carefully. The bond generates defense energy when the family unit is aligned emotionally. Protect them, and they will protect you. Ethan swallowed hard. Aligned emotionally? We're in the middle of being eaten alive. How are we supposed to be aligned right now? The first girl grabbed his hand, her small fingers cold but firm. Heart. Calm, she said softly. Feel us. Trust us, another tendril whipped toward them. Ethan spun, shielding both girls with his body. The impact never came. Instead, a sudden burst of blue light shot out from the collars around their necks, forming a shimmering barrier that blocked the strike. Ethan stared, wide-eyed. What the hell was that? The second girl met his gaze, a small, fierce smile on her lips. Bond! Protect! The creature screeched, a sound like metal twisting and bones breaking at once. It recoiled but didn't retreat. Instead, it began to circle, its black mass rippling as if studying them. Ethan tightened his grip on the girls. All right. If this thing wants me, it's going to have to go through all of us. The first girl's eyes glowed brighter, her voice steady now. We fight together. Ethan felt the bond pulse again, stronger this time. It wasn't just fear now, he felt their determination, their need to protect him as much as he wanted to protect them. The IS voice whispered through the hum of the core. Synchronization increasing, energy output rising. First strike authorized. Ethan's breath caught. First strike? The second girl stepped forward, holding both her hands out. Energy crackled around her fingers, blue light sparking like tiny stars. She looked back at him with a soft smile. We show strength. Before he could stop her, a wave of pure energy blasted from her hands. Slamming into the black mass, the creature screamed, its liquid-like body twisting and shrinking back from the hit. Ethan stared, stunned. You can do that? The girl wobbled, her knees shaking. The first girl caught her, whispering something soft Ethan couldn't understand. The bond carried their emotions into him, exhaustion mixed with fierce pride. The eye spoke again, defensive weapon initialized. Protect the companions. Their strength is your shield. Your courage is their power. The creature recovered quickly, its form rippling before splitting into multiple tendrils that slammed into the barrier. Sparks of blue light flew as the shield held. Ethan grit his teeth and yelled over the sound, "All right. Then let's end this." He stepped in front of the girls and placed both hands on their glowing collars. The bond surged instantly, a wave of heat and light filling his chest as their energy mixed with his. For a brief second, he felt everything, every fear, every hope, every bit of trust they had placed in him, and then the barrier exploded outward. A shockwave of blue energy ripping through the room and slamming into the creature. The black mass screamed again, this time louder, angrier, before pulling itself back through the broken wall, disappearing into the shadows of the corridor it came from. Silence filled the room except for the low hum of the core. Ethan dropped to his knees, breathing hard. The two alien girls clung to him from both sides, trembling. The ice voice came, softer than before. First strike successful. External entity repelled, but it will return. Unit 17H must prepare. The hunt has only begun. Ethan looked down at the two girls, their glowing eyes staring back at him with a mix of fear and fierce loyalty. He wrapped his arms around them both and whispered, "Then next time, we make sure it doesn't walk away." For the first time since this nightmare began, Ethan felt something other than fear. He felt ready. The core sanctuary was quiet now, but it was the kind of silence that made Ethan's skin crawl. The black mass was gone, but the bond between him and the alien girls pulsed with unease. They could all feel it. The first girl leaned against him, her soft voice breaking the silence. "It still here?" Ethan nodded slowly, his eyes scanning the sealed walls. "Yeah, it's not done with us." The AIS voice came through the core, calmer now but heavy with warning. "Unit 17H, the entity has adapted to your first defense. It will strike again. You must leave the sanctuary and begin the hunt. Waiting will mean death." Ethan frowned. "Wait, hunt? We're supposed to hunt that thing. Are you insane?" The second girl's hand slipped into his, her glowing eyes steady. "We fight it together." He opened his mouth to argue, but the bond betrayed his words. He could feel their determination burning through the link. They weren't afraid anymore, not like before. Now they were ready. Ethan took a deep breath and stood, pulling them both up with him. "All right," he said quietly. "Then we hunt." The core walls shifted with a mechanical hiss, opening a narrow path lined with dim white lights. The AI spoke again. "Weapon chamber unlocked. Proceed quickly. The entity is learning." They moved fast, Ethan leading with the girls close behind. The bond between them throbbed with every step, like a heartbeat guiding their pace. As they entered the chamber, Ethan froze. The room wasn't filled with guns or armor like he expected. Instead, it was empty except for 3 glowing platforms. The first girl tilted her head. "Where? Weapons?" The eye answered instantly. "Your bond is the weapon. Step onto the platforms and complete the second synchronization." Ethan groaned. "More bonding? I swear this AI is making this up as it goes." The second girl smiled faintly and tugged his hand. "Trust. Important." He sighed and stepped onto the center platform. The 2 alien girls moved to the ones on either side. The moment their feet touched the glowing circles, the collars around their necks flared with blinding blue light. Ethan gasped. As the bond surged violently, his chest burned as waves of their emotions hit him: fear, hope, trust, love. The IS voice dropped to a near whisper. Synchronization complete. Family unit weapon initialized. Suddenly, blue energy wrapped around Ethan's hands, forming into a solid shape. He looked down and nearly dropped it. A sleek, glowing spear with pulsating veins of light running through it. The first girl stepped off her platform, her own hands shimmering with the same energy, forming twin blades that curved like crescent moons. The second girl gasped as a glowing bow formed in her hands, the string made of pure light. Ethan stared at them. Okay. Now we're officially in a sci-fi nightmare. The first girl twirled her glowing blades with surprising skill. Ready, she said softly. The IS voice came one more time. Warning. The entity has breached the outer chamber. It is hunting you. Become the hunters or die as prey. The floor shook violently under their feet. A chilling screech echoed through the halls. Closer than before, Ethan spun to face the door. Gripping the glowing spear tight, he felt the bond surge. Through him again, the girl's energy wrapping around his own like armor. The second girl stepped beside him. Her bow raised and glowing with a forming arrow of pure light. The first girl crouched low, her twin blades ready. The scraping sound returned, metal bending and twisting as the creature dragged itself closer. The walls around them began to pulse, like veins as the ship itself reacted to the approaching threat. Ethan clenched his jaw and muttered, "All right." Round 2. The first girl smiled softly at his words and whispered, "Family strong." The second girl echoed her. Together, the door to the chamber exploded inward, shards of metal flying through the air. The black mass surged forward. Larger, faster, and angrier than before. Ethan didn't wait this time. He charged forward with the spear glowing like a star in his hands. The girls moved in perfect sync beside him, the bond turning fear into fire. This wasn't running anymore. This was war, and this time, they were ready to strike first. Asterisk, the black mass screamed as Ethan's glowing spear cut through its tendrils. Blue sparks clashed against its shifting body. The creature recoiled, its liquid-like form rippling as if in pain. The first girl moved. Like a shadow beside him, her twin blades flashing in arcs of blue light. Each strike burned into the creature's skin, leaving glowing wounds that hissed as if the alien metal of the ship itself was rejecting it. The second girl's bow hummed. An arrow of pure energy forming in her hands, she released it, the shot slicing through the air before striking the center of the mass. A deafening screech filled the chamber. Ethan's chest pounded, but it wasn't just adrenaline. It was the bond, pulsing harder and harder, feeding him their strength and their emotions. He felt their fear, their determination, and something else, something warmer that made his grip on the spear tighten. "Keep pushing," he shouted. The creature lashed out with a massive tendril. The impact slammed into the floor, the shockwave sending all three of them sliding back. Ethan hit the wall hard, pain shooting through his spine. The girls cried out as they fell against him. The IS voice cut through the chaos. Warning. Entity adapting to current energy levels. Increase synchronization or risk failure. Ethan groaned, forcing himself to stand. Increase synchronization? How much more can we sync? We're practically one person already. The first girl grabbed his arm, her glowing eyes locking onto his. "Heart. Open," she whispered. The second girl pressed her forehead against his shoulder. "All of you. Trust us." Ethan hesitated for a split second, then exhaled sharply and let go of everything: fear, doubt, hesitation. He opened himself completely to the bond. The effect was instant. A violent surge of energy ripped through the three of them. Blue light erupted from their collars and wrapped around their bodies like living armor. The spear in Ethan's hands grew longer, sharper, humming with power. The girl's weapons flared so bright the entire room glowed. The creature froze for half a second, its shifting body trembling as if it could feel the change. Ethan stepped forward, his voice deep and steady. "We are not prey." The first girl echoed him, her twin blades crossing in front of her chest. "We protect family." The second girl raised her bow, her voice soft but firm. Together, they charged, the bond driving their movements as one. Ethan's spear pierced deep into the creature's core. The first girl's blades slashed across its tendrils, severing them with blinding arcs of light. The second girl's arrow fired point blank into its center, exploding in a burst of energy that shook the entire ship. The black mass screamed one last time, a sound so loud and raw it rattled the walls. Then, slowly, its body began to collapse in on itself, shrinking, folding, until nothing remained but a puddle of black liquid hissing against the glowing floor. Silence filled the chamber, broken only by their heavy breaths. Ethan dropped to his knees, the spear dissolving into blue sparks. The girls collapsed beside him, their weapons fading as the glowing armor around them dimmed. For a long moment, none of them spoke. The bond was quiet now, not pulsing with fear or battle rage, but something calm, steady. The Aya's voice returned. Softer than ever. Entity neutralized. Blood of the void acquired. Survival probability increased by 42%. Family unit confirmed stable. Ethan let out a shaky laugh. Blood of the void? That's what that thing was? The first girl leaned her head on his shoulder, her soft voice barely a whisper. You... Strong. The second girl wrapped her arms around his waist. We... One now. He felt their words in his chest through the bond. Not just as sound, but as pure emotion. They weren't just companions anymore. They were family. Ethan ran a hand through his sweat-soaked hair and looked at the puddle of black liquid still hissing on the floor. If that was just one, what else is out there? The eye answered in its cold, calm tone. Unknown. But now you are ready. Ethan held the two girls close, his heart steady despite the exhaustion. He didn't know what came next, but he knew one thing. Whatever waited for them in the dark of space, they would face it, together. The core chamber was quiet now, only the soft hum of the ship filling the air. Ethan sat against the wall, his arms wrapped around the two alien girls who leaned into him. The bond between them wasn't pulsing with fear anymore, it was calm. Warm, almost like a heartbeat they shared. The Aya's voice broke the silence. Gentle but firm. Unit 17H, you have completed the survival protocol. The entity is destroyed. The family unit is confirmed. A new directive begins. Ethan raised an eyebrow, his voice rough from exhaustion. New directive? What now? Haven't we done enough? The first girl lifted her head from his chest, her glowing blue eyes locking onto his. I say future. The second girl nodded, her soft voice trembling with something like hope. We make new home. Ethan frowned. New home? Wait, what are you saying? The eye answered in its cold, steady tone. The entity was only the first sign. The void expands. The human species cannot survive alone. Your family unit will be the foundation of the next generation. Ethan's stomach tightened. He looked at the two petite alien girls beside him, their small hands clutching his shirt like he was the center of their world. Foundation? He whispered. The first girl placed her cool hand over his chest, her voice soft but certain. We... With you. The second girl mirrored her, touching his other hand. Forever. Ethan exhaled slowly. His mind wanted to question everything. But the bond between them spoke louder than any logic could. Through it, he felt their trust, their devotion, and something deeper, something he hadn't expected when this nightmare began. Love, the AI spoke again. Navigation updated. A habitable planet has been detected. Preparing descent. Family unit must begin the new colony. The floor under them shifted as the ship changed course. A low hum vibrated through the walls as the engines roared to life. Ethan stood shakily, pulling the girls up with him. All right, he muttered, his voice steady despite the storm inside him. If we're going to start a new world, we do it together. The first girl smiled softly, her twin blades dissolving into blue sparks as she touched his hand. Together. Family. The second girl's glowing bow faded into nothing, and she wrapped both arms around his waist. Home, she whispered. As if tasting the word for the first time, through the bond, Ethan felt something shift, not fear or adrenaline this time, but a sense of purpose. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about building something new. Hours later, The ship entered orbit around a glowing green and blue planet. Its surface shimmered with oceans and sprawling forests untouched by civilization. Ethan stood at the viewport with the girls on either side of him, their small hands gripping his as the AI's voice filled the chamber. "Welcome, family unit. This world is yours. Protect it. Grow. Begin again." The girls both leaned into him, and he felt their emotions wash over him through the bond hope, fear, love, and a quiet, unshakable determination. Ethan smiled faintly, his voice soft. "All right. Then, let's build a home." The ship descended through the clouds, the engines humming as the new world stretched out beneath them, untouched and waiting. For the first time since the eye had spoken those strange words, Ethan didn't feel trapped. By the assignment, he felt chosen, and as the alien girls held onto him, their glowing eyes fixed on the horizon, Ethan realized this wasn't the end of their story. It was only the beginning. Together, they would carve a life out of this unknown world. Together, they would fight whatever came next, and together, they would make sure humanity and their strange, beautiful new family never died.